Beyond the entertainment show, the stories behind the movies.
And this is beyond entertainment.
Have you ever noticed how, sequels, they rarely ever really recapture that magic of the first film?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're just kind of, trying to cash in on a good thing,
Right.
But then you hear about a movie like The One I Love, or Toil, as I guess I'll call it for short, and you can't help but get swept up in the excitement, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
There's a real buzz around this one.
Yeah.
And that's what we're diving into today. Parable Film Productions, the creative minds behind Toil. We got to figure out what makes this film, tick.
And what makes it even more interesting is that Toil is coming out of Nigeria's gospel cinema scene, which is a whole world that people may not even know exists.
Right.
But they produce some seriously powerful and thought-provoking films.
It's true. And it's not just coming from that scene, but it's building on the success of Parable Film Productions' last film, Man Down, which for our listeners, you can find on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. But before we get too far ahead, can you give us some context? What exactly is Nigerian gospel cinema? I think some of our listeners might not even know it's a thing.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And you're right. I think a lot of people, when they hear gospel cinema, they think, oh, okay, so it's just, preaching to the choir, literally.
Right.
But Nigerian gospel cinema, it takes these deep faith and moral messages, and it weaves them into these really engaging narratives. So we're talking about relatable struggles, complex characters, and often commentary on what's going on in society. But all through this lens of faith. And that combination, it resonates deeply with audiences, both obviously within Nigeria, but increasingly we're seeing it more and more across the globe.
Okay, so films with a message for sure, but strong storytelling, relatable characters, the whole package.
Exactly.
Now, Man Down, as we mentioned, a huge success for Parable Film Productions. And I was blown away by the story. A young pastor, he's trying to reconcile his faith with this devastating loss. It was really powerful. And the director, Victor Olukoju, he just seems to have this gift for tapping into those raw emotions, What is it about his style as a filmmaker that sets him apart in this genre, in this space?
Yeah, Victor Olukoju, PVO as he's known, he has this incredible ability to capture just the rawness of the human experience in a way that's both authentic and just deeply, deeply moving. And he does this often by using these really, really tight close-up shots.
Interesting.
Really highlighting the emotion on the actors' faces,
Yeah.
And his films also tend to have these really powerful, almost poetic moments of silence.
Oh, yeah.
That just let the weight of the story really sink in. So it becomes more than just entertainment when you're watching a PVO film. He's inviting you to really feel and reflect, which is, not always what you get.
No.
Every film.
So true. Those moments in Man Down, they really stayed with me. And now with The One I Love, it's generating all this buzz after the Legos premiere. Is it a sequel? Are we looking at a direct sequel to Man Down? Or is it more of a, spiritual successor? What are we thinking?
That's a great question. And to be honest with you, the studio has been very tight-lipped about whether it's a direct sequel or not. But there are definitely hints that The One I Love might exist in the same world as Man Down.
Okay.
For one, we're seeing some familiar faces.
Oh, interesting.
Popping up in the cast list.
Okay.
And those who are familiar with PVO's work, they're speculating that there might be these thematic connections, like this idea of exploring love and faith and forgiveness. This seems to be a recurring thread in his work.
And speaking of the cast, I'm so excited to see some new faces too, like Funto Ibuyo. This is her debut.
Yes.
In The One I Love.
I'm excited to see her.
It really seems like Parable Film Productions is not just telling amazing stories, but they're also fostering new talent.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I think that says a lot about their investment in the future of Nigerian gospel cinema.
Yes.
Anybody can just crank out a film and you hope it's successful, but to actually invest in the next generation of storytellers, that's a whole other level.
Wow.
It suggests that there's this dedication to fostering a real cinematic legacy here that goes way beyond box office numbers.
I love that. It adds another layer to all of this. So, The One I Love premieres on YouTube on November 10th. For those of us who, like me, are dying to figure out how this connects to Man Down, should we rewatch it? Would that be beneficial?
Yes. 100% rewatch.
Okay.
It's going to be so interesting to see if PVO's style has evolved, even just a little bit, or if we see these subtle callbacks or Easter eggs that connect the two films.
I love that.
This is more than entertainment. This is like a cultural phenomenon unfolding in front of us.
It's true.
And it's really exciting to see.
It really is. And it makes you think, how might a film like Toil, grounded in faith, driven by this really distinct cultural perspective, how might it resonate differently with global audiences than, say, your average Hollywood blockbuster?
Right.
Could this be a turning point for Nigerian gospel cinema, one that brings in an even wider audience?
Right.
It's something to consider.
Definitely.
As we wait for the premiere.
Can a man of God like you be sexually tempted?
You cannot be under my roof and go to hell. Hell? Hell! Am I not in hell already under your roof? Hell is real.
Justina, I need you to stop visiting me alone in the house.
Everything is by decree.
Abeke, bring your bag.
Yes. Read the Bible by force? Yes. And go to church by force? Exactly.
O fẹ́ gòkè àgbà. O fẹ́ bá àwọn àgbà jẹun. Ìwọ fẹ́ jó oúnjẹ àgbà.
What kind of a father are you? You are talking to me like that. Yes. And your father, you are talking to me like that. Henry, you are talking to me like that. What's the meaning of that?
Let there be restoration.
Ìwọ fẹ́ jó oúnjẹ àgbà. Ó ṣeé ṣe.